Today's daf is daf Lamed Gimel, and we're up to Rav Zvid Mishmei de Rava on the second line. So we're talking now about Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina, about whom we learned on daf Lamed Beis Lamed Beis, that if a person enters into the blacksmith's shop without getting permission, and as a result, something shoots off and kills him, then Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina holds that on the one hand, he's chayav b'tashlume arba dvarim, like Adam HaMazik, Adam HaChovel b'chavero, if the Nizak was wounded. But on the other hand, if the Nizak died, then he's potter from Golus, because the Nizak was the one who entered into the domain of the Mazik. Rav Zvid Mishmei de Rava Masnile, he would teach the words of Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina on the Brisa in Masechet Makis on Daf Ches, based on the pasuk V'nashal habarzel min ha'etz umatzas re'eu v'meis. And what do we darshan from the word umatzah? Umatzah prat lemamtzias atzmo. In other words, a person who murdered someone b'shogeg is not chayiv golus unless the victim was there beforehand in the place where the nezik took place. But if he's mamtzias atzmo, then the horeg is not chayiv golus. It's like he's karov leonis. Mikan omer Abelazar ben Yaakov mishi yotza even mitaxio. The person threw an even into a group of bnei Adam, and at the time that he threw him, there was no one there. And while the Evan was in flight, Hotzi Halas Rosh Kibla, somebody entered into that area, and just then, unfortunately, he got hit by the Evan and he died. Potter, the Horeg, does not go into Golus because this is a case of Mamtzias Atzma. And on that, Omer Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina, Potter mi Golus, but V'chayav b'arba dvarim. The Torah says that it's got to be umatzah prat lamamtzi. So that's exeris hakosov as far as golus is concerned. But if the victim was injured and he did not die, then there was a pshia on the part of the zorek. He should not have thrown an evan into a place where normally people are. And therefore, even if there was no one there at the time that the evan was sent off into flight, but nevertheless, Adam would liolam, and he has to pay as an Adam HaMazik. Pays arba dvarim. Man demasni alha koshke al kamaisa. Whoever understood that Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina was talking about this brisa, that even in this case, Rabbi Yossi says he's chayav arba dvarim, koshke, how much more so on the brisa that was brought down early on Daf Lamed Beis, in the case where somebody entered into the carpentry and he was hurt. For sure, in that case, Rabbi Yossi would be machayev the carpenter in tashlumi nizko, even though the person who entered into his carpentry had no reshus, did not get invited to do so. But since the blacksmith saw him entering in, he has to be very careful not to hurt him. But manda masne like hamaisa, if Rabbi Yossi Chanina was talking about the prices that we learned earlier about Hanichnas L'Chanur Shel Nagar, and he holds that in that case, the Nagar is Chayav, but in the case of Mamtzias Rosho, Potter Ligamri, not only is he potter from Golus, but he'd even be potter from Arba Dvarim. And here we can introduce the concept that the victim of this injury was responsible in a certain sense from going in Shalom Bershus, and therefore you're potter legamri even from damages. Tana Rabbana, we learned in a brisa, and this is going to talk about a case of a person who goes into the domain of his friend and he gets injured there. Polim shabo litfo escharam. So now, at the end of the day, the workers come to demand their wages. Mibalabais. And they went into the rishus of the Baal Bais. Unukachan shor shel Baal Bais. The Baal Bais had an ox who attacked them, or a kelev, nishchan kelem shel Baal Bais, and umesu, they died. Now, normally, when your shor, your animal, kills a human being, you pay kofar. But in this case, the Bryce establishes that you're potter from paying kofar. Why doesn't the Balabais have to pay kofar? Because the Polim entered into the Rishus of the Balabais without permission to do so. And therefore the Balabais is not responsible for, he's not negligent for not watching his shore. He didn't anticipate that someone would enter into his premises without permission. However, that's the view of the Tanna Kamma, the Acherim in this brisa, and we normally say based on the Gemara and Horios, on Daf Yud Gimel, and based the Acherim is Rabbi Meir, Rashoim Pom L'Tvos Chorim Balabayis. This is not a case of someone who entered into your domain without permission. They have the rights to enter into your domain because they have to get paid. At the end of the day, they have to. They should be, the wages should be paid to them, and therefore, according to the Acherim in this price, so the Balbayis will pay kofar. Hechidamik, where it says this is difficult. If the Balbayis who has to pay his wages is accessible in the city, my time at the Acherim. Why did the Acherim say that the Polim are allowed to come into the Balbayis Rishus? They should have encountered the Balbayis out there in the street, and there they would demand their pay. If the Balbayis under normal situations would not be found outside his house, then my time at Tanna Kamma. Why does Tanna Kamma say that the Polim are not allowed to come into his bayis? They have a right to collect their wages, and the Balbayis is not mamtzi aside. He doesn't appear and present himself outside of the four walls of his house. Lo tzricha, but rather, what's the machlokas in the brisa? Begara de shchiach v'lo shchiach. We're talking about a person who sometimes goes out into the Rechov Ha'ir, but he's not there on a regular basis. The Kari above, the Polim start knocking on his door. The Amalahu, and the Balbayis says to them, in. Now, what does the word in mean? The word in tolerates two different interpretations, and this is going to be the subject of the controversy between the Tanna Kamma and the Acherim. Mar Savar, according to the Acherim, in ul ta mashma means ul ta. Ul ta means yes, come in, and therefore the Polim had perfect permission to enter into the bayis, because in means yes, I'm responding to you, knocking on the door. Is therefore, according to the Acherim, he has to pay kofar. But Marsav, according to Tanna Kamma, in, what does in mean? Kum aduchteich mashma, stand there wherever you are, I'm coming to you. And the Polim now enter into his rishus without permission, and therefore the Balbayis is potter for their death, and he doesn't pay kofar. Tanya, kiman diomer in kum aduchteich mashma, the word in means stay where you are. The Sadi we learned in a brisa, Pol shenichnas litvos choromi Balbayis unigacho shoro shel Balbayis onashacho kalbo potter. If he dies, the Poil dies, then the Balbayis is pot. He doesn't have to pay kofar. Why? Afal pisha nichnas pershus. Even though the Balbayis gave him permission to enter into the house, nevertheless, the Balbayis is not chayiv kofar. So the Gemara immediately asks, Amai potter? Why should the Balbayis be potter if the Poil had a rishus, he had permission to enter? Elalav dekoya above of Yomalei in. The case is where the Poel was knocking on the door of the Balbayis, and the Balbayis said to him, in. Ushmami no, what does it mean in? Why is the Balbayis potter for tashlume kofer? Because in kuma duchtek mashma. And this leads us to the Mishnah here in the middle of Daf Lamed Gimel. We'll get to a Mishnah, the third Mishnah on the bottom of the Daf. Shnei shvarim tamim shechavlu zeh b'zeh mishalbid b'moser chatzi nezek. If each of these two shvarim was damaged, was injured in a collision, in a fight between the two oxen, and let's say, for example, one of the shvarim is worth 100 dinner, the second shvar is worth 200 dinner. So therefore, we're going to treat it as if the hezek was a schum of 50 dinrim, which is the difference between the two of 100 over 2, because we're talking about a shor tam who only pays chatzi nezek. If shneimu odim mishalme b'mosa nezek shalom, we make this subtraction of the damages, and he pays 100% of that difference, the differential. Echad tam v'echad muad. Now it depends whether the muad attacked the tam or the other way around. If it was muad b'tam, then mishalim b'mosa nezek shalom. If the muad was the shar hamazik, and the schum was that much greater, then the loss to the tam, he pays the difference nezek shalom, because it was the muad who's chayiv nezek shalom. However, tam b'muad, if the tam attacks the muad, and the hezek of the tam was greater than that of the hezek to the muad, then mishalim b'moser chatzi nezek, pays the increment chatzi nezek as a shor tam. So too, shnei anoshim shechavlu zeh b'zeh, if two human beings fought with each other and injured each other, mishalim b'moser nezek shalom, because Adam Amuad, Adam is always Muad, and he pays Nezek Shalom even on the first round. Adam b'shar u'muad b'Adam, Shalom b'mosa Nezek Shalom. If we're talking about a collision, a reciprocal injuries of an Adam and a Shar Muad, since a Shar Muad pays Nezek Shalom, the increment is paid in Nezek Shalom. But Adam b'tam b'Adam, what happens if a man damaged or injured a shor tam, or the shor tam injured an Adam? So if it was Adam b'tam, if the increment was the amount of the damages to the tam by the Adam, then mishalim b'mosa nezek shalom, Adam amasik pays nezek shalom. But if it was tam v'Adam, in other words, more than the hezek of the Adam b'tam, then mishalim b'mosa chatzi nezek. And all this is according to Tanna Kamma. Now we get to Rabbi Akiva, the dissenting view. Af tam shechol b'Adam mishalim b'mosa nezek shalom. When the Torah establishes that a tam only pays chatzi nezek, that's if a tam attacks another animal. But if the tam attacks a human being, then he pays nezek shalom. And the Gemara is going to explain where Rabbi Akiva got this from. Tanu Rabbanan. Now we're learning a pasuk in Shmos Perek Chaf Aleph, pasuk Lamed Aleph, and we're going to compare it to the psukim that came before Lamed Aleph, specifically to psukim Chaf Ches, Chaf Tes, and Lamed. And the Torah says in pasuk Lamed Aleph, O ben yigach, O bas yigach, kamishpat hazeh yaselo. And what is the Torah adding here with those four words? Mishpat shar b'shar kach mishpat shar ba'adam. Ma shar b'shar tam mishalim chatzi nezek. It's muad pays a nezek shalom. Af shar b'adam tam mishalim chatzi nezek muad nezek shalom. So mishpat hazeh is telling me that a shar that was mazik and adam has the same status and the same dinim as a shar that was nogech a shar. If it's a tam, he pays chatzi nezek to the man. If it's a muad, he pays nezek shalom. Rav Kiva Omi disagrees. Kam mishpat hazeh, we should look at the psukim that are further, meaning are closer to this pasuk Lamed Aleph, and those are the psukim Chav Tes and Lamed, and that's called mishpat hatachton. Tachton means if you had a chumash and the psukim are vertical, it's on the bottom. And what it means is Kamishpat Hazeh is Kamishpat Shar Muad, because in Psukim, Chav Tes and Lamed, right before the pasuk Kamishpat Hazeh, the Torah addresses the case of a Muad. And it's telling you that if a Shar attacks a man, then he has the status of a Shar Muad. Velo Ke'elyon, but not like the pasuk that came earlier, that was pasuk Chav Ches, in the case of a Shar Tam. So according to Rabbi Akiva, the Torah was memayit that we don't compare the din of shar tam in the case of nogech ba'adam to the din of shar tam and nogech b'shar, but rather we compare a shar tam that was nogech ba'adam to a shar muad, and he pays nezek shalom. The Brisa clarifies. Yochel, I might think that according to Rabbi Akiva, the Baal Shar Tam, in the case where Shar Tam was Nagechad, is Meshalim and Aliyah. Let's give him all the dinim of a Shar Muad, which means that if the Gufo Shel Shar is not worth the value of the damage, then you have to still pay min haliyah, out of pocket. And that's the din in the Shar Muad. Whereas the Shar Tam only pays me Gufo. Tam Lomer Yosel Lo. It says Kamishbar Azeh Yosel Lo. And the word lo is going to be a mute, and darsha mi Gufo Mishalim. The Baal of the Shar Tam pays me Gufo. V'eno Mishalim in Aliyah. So if the Gufo Shel Shar is not worth the schum of the nezek, then the nizak loses. So it comes out according to Rabbi Akiva, the Shar Tam Shenogach Odom has two different dinim. On the one hand, it has a din of a shar muad to pay nezek shalom, but on the other hand, it's a din of a shar tam she'ena mishalim migufo elamin she'ena mishalim elamin migufo v'lo min ali. U'l'Rabbanan zeh lomali. What do the Rabbanan do with the word zeh? After all, they rejected Rabbi Akiva, and they hold that a shar tam shenogach odom only pays chatzi nezek. Is lefotra me'arbot dvarim, that a shar who's no gap adam does not pay anything more than nezek. He does not pay tsar, ripui, sheves, and boshes. Rabbi Akiva, lefotro me'arbet dvar minole. Rabbi Akiva, who used that pasuk for a different purpose, what is he? From whence is he going to derive this halacha of a ptur from arbet dvar? And the Gemara answers nafkalei. He derives this din min from the pasuk ve'ish ki yitain mum va'amisa. The parasha of Chovel B'Adam, who pays chamisha dvarim, it says ish ba'amiso v'lo shar ba'amiso. That a man who is chovel b'chavero b'amiso, he pays arba dvarim, but a shar ba'amiso, meaning a shar that attacks an adam, does not pay arba dvarim v'rabbanon. And according to the Rabbanan, why do we need a mute from the word zeh to teach me that the shar, who is chovel ba'adam, does not pay our badvarim? We could derive it from ish ba'miso. The Gemara says, if the Rabbanan would have not used the zeh, but rather used the ish ba'miso, habamina tsar lechude, that parsha in which it says ish la'mito, that is in the context of tsar. Now, tsar is unique because ein bo chisar and kiss, avol, ripui, sheves, which are chisar and kiss, meaning when he has to pay doctor's bills, or he cannot go to work, is emo litenle. Maybe the balashar, who's nogech an adam, has to pay for those damages and compensate him for sheves and for ripui. Kamash Malan, that's what the Pasuk Mishpat Azeh tells me, that the Shar Nogech Adam does not pay Arba Dvarim at all. And this leads us to the second Mishnah on the Daf. Shar, now we're talking about a Shar Tam. Shavim Mana, it's worth 100 dinrim. Shenogach Shar Shavim Asayin, and the victim of this Negicha was worth 200 dinrim. And the victim died, meaning the Shar that was attacked died. The carcass is not worth anything. So the hezek was to the tune of 200 zuz. But a shar tam only pays chatzi nezek, and therefore no tells hashar. If the shar mazik is worth 100 dinrim, then the mazik grabs on and possesses the shar mazik in lieu of the chiyuv of mea dinrim that the Baal Shara Mazik has to pay to the Shara Niza. So the Gemara says, Masnisin Mani, Rabbi Akiva, who's the author of the Mishnah, is going to be Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva is the one who holds that from the moment of the Nezek, the Shar belongs to the Mazik. I'm sorry, the Shar of the Mazik belongs to the Nizak, based on the value, reflecting corresponding the value of the nezek. The Sanya we learned in a Brisa Yusham Ashar bebezdin de Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Kiva Omer, Yuchlat Ashar. And the Gemara is going to ask with my komiflagi, what's the logic of this machlokas? So according to Rabbi Shmuel, Yusham Ashar bebezdin, Bezdin will evaluate or estimate the value of the Shar Mazik, and that's because the Shartam only pays me Gufo. If it's worth the exact value of half of the Nezek, then he pays to the Bailam that schum to the Baal Shor to the Nizak. But the Nizak himself is not allowed to take the Shar Mazik and possess it. Bezdin will be in charge of evaluating the Hezek, and there'll have to be a payment. Rabbi Kiva holds that the Baal of the Nizak, of the Shar Nizak, is allowed to take the Shar Mazik for himself, and if it's worth half the Nezek, it's his. But if it's worth more than that, then he becomes a Shutaf, a partner in the Shar, together with the Baal Shar. Rabbi Shmuel Sava, Rabbi Shmuel's of the opinion that Baal Chovu, that the owner of the Shar Mazik is a Baal Chov, which means he has to pay the Shar Nizak the value of the Nezek. And Zuzehu de Masechet. He doesn't have to pay anything more than Mos. So the Shar remains in his Rishus. Rabbi Kiva Sava Shutafei Ninu. The Torah made them into Shutafim in this Shar. That if the Shar was Nogech, let's say the value of the Shar Nogech was 200. And the other Shar, let's say, is also worth 200. And the Shar Mazik kills the Shar Nizak. So the Bailim have to pay 100 dinrim as a Shartam. And now, according to Rabbi Kiva, the two of them, the Mazik and the Nizak, become Shutfim, each owning 100 dinrim worth in the Shar Mazik. Because Miflagi B'Haikra. And the Machlok Stream Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Kiva revolves around how to interpret the Pasuk. And this again back to Shmos Chaf Aleph Pasuk Lamed Hey. U'machru es hashor achai v'chasu its kaspa. Rabbi Shmuel Savar lebeidina komisar rachmana. The Torah is addressing the Bezdin that they should sell the live shar, the shar mazik, and they should give half of that value to the Baal Shar and Nizak, but the shar itself remains in the possession of the mazik, not of the Nizak. Rabbi Kiva the Torah is addressing the Bali Ashvarim and telling them to sell the Shar Chai and Chatzos Kaspo. Now they become Shutafim in that Shar. My Beinayu. Nafkamin is Higdish Nizak Ika Beinayu. If the Nizak went ahead and he was Magdish the Shar Mazik, that would be dependent upon the Machlokas Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Kiva. According to Rabbi Akiva, the Hegdish is Chal, because from the time of the Negicha and the Nezek, the Nizak was Zocher in the Shar the Mazik, reflecting, corresponding to the value of the Nezek. And that he could be Magdish, because he's a Shutaf, he's a partner in the Shar Mazik. Whereas Rabbi Shmuel holds the Hegdish is not Chal at all, because although the Mazik owes an outstanding debt to the Nizak, but the Mazik retains ownership over the Shar Mazik, and the Shar and the Bailam of the Shar. The Bailam of the Shar Nizak has no shutfus in the Shar Mazik, and therefore his Hegdish is not Chal. Boy minei Rava mirav Nachman mecharo Mazik l'Rabbi Shmuel Mal. What's the din if the Mazik sells the Shar after the Nezek, before the Nizak got a chance to collect his Chov? Is that Mechira valid? Gemara explains the study Asaf. Kevan the Rabbi Shmuel Bal Chovu v'Zuzehi hu de Kamasik Bey is Mochu. according to Rabbi Yishmael, the shor remains in the chazaka of the bailam, of the Baal Ashar Mazik. And now, if the Baal Ashar Mazik sold his shor, it's a valid mecher. Oh, Dilma, should we say, and here we turn to Daf Lamed Gimel and Beis, the cave in the Mishabdi Lelizak Lav Kol Kamine. The Maisa Hezek on the part of the Shor Mazik generates a shibud to the Nizak for the Tashlum of the Nezek. And the Torah was Mashabid, Rashi says, the Shor Mazik Nizak, that if the Mazik is not going to pay in currency, then the Nizak has wherewithal to collect the Shor Mazik. Is therefore, since the Nizak has a shibud on the Shor Mazik, Lav Kol Kamini, the Bailim who own the Shor Mazik do not have the power to sell and be mafkia the shibud that the Nizak has in the Shor. Amalei Rav Nachman responds to Rava, Eino Mochu. Since the Nizak has a shibud in the Shor Mazik, therefore the Mazik cannot sell the Shor. So Rava asks Rav Nachman, Vasanya Macharo Machor, we have a brisa that explicitly says that the Bechir is valid. So Rav Nachman says that even though, according to the brisa, Choser v'Gover, what it means is that the Nizak can now collect from the Shor, from the Lokeach, meaning the Bechira is valid, but nevertheless, there is a shibud in the Shor to be Mashabi the Shor Mazik over to the Nizak. So Rava asks him, if you're telling me that the Nizak could collect this Shor because of the shibud, then L'chora, why should the Mazik be able to sell the Shor to the Lokeach? So Rav Nachman answers, L'Redia. Right, Redia means Charisha. So if, let's say, the Lokeach, who purchased the Shor, and he uses that Shor for Charisha, so from the moment of time that he bought the Shor until the Shor should go on Nizak, is Eino Tzarech Litenes Tmei Charisha LeNizak. The buyer does not have to pay Domim for the Charisha, because the mechir itself is valid. Okay, it's true that the Nizak has a shibud in the Shor Mazik, but he can't collect that time period in which the Lokeach used that Shor, Kedasu Kedin, for Charisha. And he doesn't have to pay Tmei Charisha, he doesn't have to reimburse the Nizak, even though the Nizak now, by virtue of the shibud in the Shor Mazik, and he therefore collects now and confiscates the Shor from the Lokeach, but nevertheless, the Dmei Charisha are bailus are underneath the ownership of the Lokeach. So the Gemara asks, Shmami Noah, should we derive from this that it's true that the Nizak has rights to collect the Shor from the Lokeach, and Love u'mocher metaltalin bezdin gov lo mihem? The Love Mos, after the Alva, there was a sale of metaltalin, and bezdin is govin lo malva mehem. They collect from metaltalin. And if the Lova does not have Mos to Shalem, then the Malva could collect from Lekuchos the Metaltal. How could that possibly be? How could the Malva collect Metaltalin from the buyer? Gemara answers, Shani Hasam to Kamanda Soa Potiki Domi. Here's a case where the Lova identified, or what word should we use? They designated, that's the word. They designated the shar, Mr. Lova, as a potiki, giving the malva rights to collect that metalta that was designated as a potiki by the lova. Gemara is not happy with that. So Amar Rava, Asa Avdo potiki. We'll see that an Eved has a kol. In any event, we'll get to that in a minute, but the lova could designate the Eved, his own Eved, and designate it as an apotiki for the malva. And therefore, Mecharo Bal Chov Gove Menu. If the lova sells the Eved over to a buyer, then the malva, the Bal Chov, can collect from the lova, because there's a shibud for the Piron Chov in the Eved. But Shor Apotiki, if on the other end the lova owns a shor and he designates the shor as an apotiki for the collection of the malva, and then umacharo, and now the lova sells the shor to somebody else, ein balchov gove menu. The balchov doesn't have rights to collect from the lokeach. So how can you tell me that if the shor mazik has some sort of collection, the shor mazik is meshuba to the lova. Now, if the lova sells the shor mazik to the lokeach, you could confiscate from lokeach. How could that be? After all, there's no apotiki on a shor. And the Gemara answers, Eved my time of mishum dislay kola. Right? There's a shibud of the lova vis-a-vis the Eved for the malva, because there's a kol for that shibud. And therefore, the Adam cannot purchase this Eved. And therefore, he's mafsid his mos, and the malva could collect the Eved. But if the Adam was meshabi the shor to the malva, and in a case of shor, as opposed to an Eved, there's no shibud, there's no kol, and therefore lokeach cannot be, shall we say, guilty for purchasing the shor. The malva does not have rights to collect the shor and rip it and confiscate it out of the buyer. Hainami, the nogach kola islay. The Gemara answers no. That after there was an agich of the shor, there's a kol of the Torah nikhana karule. The shor has a shor nagchan, and therefore the lokeach hoya lokeach limona miliknos shor zem shuba l'tashlam hanezek, and we hold the lokeach guilty, such that now the Baal Shor Nisa could collect from the Lokech and confiscate the Shor, because it's considered like it has a kol. It's Nikra Me'ata Shor Nagl. And this leads up to Tani Rav Tachlifa Bar Marah.